All right, cool. We're live.
Awesome.
All right. So, did you guys get a chance to read the what was that?
The SG Cohen recruitment thing?
SG Cohen, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You on that? Okay. Just because it's so late and I've been pretty much driving all day, I'm just gonna kind of like go through these questions pretty quick, and like anything you guys want to talk about, that's totally fine. Like we can kind of divert or whatever, but just gonna kind of jump into it. So first, what we want to do is like kind of imagine that we're the bankers at Super Saturday, and I want you guys to try to I want you to vote on which two candidates you would hire.
I'd probably hire Andy Sanchez.
Okay. He was the business guy, right?
Yeah, he had the low GPA.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Jacob?
I would probably hire Natalia.
Yeah. And Kevin?
And then I like Andy, just because that's kind of like me. Not a great GPA, but he's been around.
Is he the military guy? I'm trying to remember.
He's the one that came out of UCLA.
Okay.
Like he started his own business and everything before.
Okay.
And
Right. I should probably have like the case study open up. Well, that's okay. Well, cool. Do you guys have like any specific like draws to your choices, or like is there something that like really stands out?
I like Andy was a real people person. He was really personable. They said he was enthusiastic, but he also was like successful in running his own business and doing that kind of stuff. I know they were concerned about his GPA, but like kind of in the same boat myself. Like I had all A's and B's in my first few semesters, and then as life got busy and you started doing all the hard stuff, some of the grades started slipping, and
Right.
Doesn't mean I'm a bad student, so I kind of relate to him in that same way. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd say I'd vote for Natalia just because, she had the issues with maybe her language and stuff. But just she seemed really passionate and a go-getter. It seemed like the other people were all very nice. Like I would definitely put Andy in a second for being really proactive, but I thought Natalia was the obvious choice just for her skills overall and the proof to back it up.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Andy?
No, I'm good on that.
Is there any other information that you guys kind of wish that you would have about any of the people, like before you made a decision?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm gonna say with how much I know about the business world that they'd be going into, I'd say any really extra information probably wouldn't do that much. Maybe if they do anything outside of work, what kind of extracurricular stuff they do.
Uh-huh.
But that's about it.
What do you think, Kevin? Is there anything else that you'd like want to know about the candidates?
Not really. I mean, they all have pretty good track records and everything, so I don't know. Not really.
You can tell we're all really enthusiastic tonight.
Right.
Well, I'm sick. I have an excuse, but
Let's see. Let's just kind of move on to the
that's
part
fine.
two here. Let's see. Why do you think there's so much disagreement between like the senior bankers on that Saturday meeting about like who to hire?
I think everybody runs a business differently. You know, I mean, we all have different things that we appreciate in other people and in qualities in the people we work with or have working with us. You know.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of interesting how unique people can be, and like you said, like the qualities that we value. So yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because yeah, as an individual, like I felt bad for Ken Goldstein being almost eliminated because of his family.
Right.
I mean, that's where I would stand as an individual. Like, but then I can see how most people who would be at the bank probably have climbed through the ladder, and the way they were talking about first years and how much sacrifices they make and what they expect of you. I mean, everyone has a different idea of what the culture should be of the workplace.
Right. Do you guys feel like that like it might have been part of like how they actually do the interview process? Do you think that might have anything to do with it?
Like, I'm trying to understand the question. So you think that the reason that there's like the different biases and the different leaders is because of it could be from the interview process?
Yeah, so possibly the reason why they disagree is because of the interview process and just kind of the types of interviews that they do. Do you think that might lead to disagreement?
That could lead to disagreement, I suppose.
I mean, I felt like some of the, techniques and tactics that they were using. I mean, some were trying to use like anger or to be more kind of like a tough interviewer versus a friendly interviewer. And
yeah.
So, I mean, I think, it could be a little controversial, like when you start playing with emotions and all that.
Yeah. And maybe if they had like recruited them at their college or whatever, so they had a little bit more personal connection with them. Do you think there might be any other like better ways, other than like traditional interviews that they could try? Like maybe have them perform like certain job tasks or something like that. Like, could there be better ways to learn about the candidates than like just like an interview, sit down interview?
I feel like they're.
Go ahead.
No,
after you.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say I feel like there has to be another way than like an official interview. I mean, obviously, we know employers use social media, your LinkedIn, and all that to kind of get to know you before you actually come in.
Right.
So, I mean, there's that.
What I was going to say was I feel like they do quite a bit before the initial interview, though. It says there was a long process that led to that. They even did informal interviews, where they like kind of selected them before that. And so I feel like there's a decent amount that went into it before that, and so I think that overall the interview format isn't that bad.
Yeah. Let's see. So some of the suggestions that they give was have them demonstrate the ability to do certain job tasks, have them spend a whole day with someone to see what the job is like, have them do internships. I think one of the readings we had talked about doing the behavioral questions. Like the example they give is tell me about a time when you disagreed with your boss and what did you do. And then it was kind of interesting that it kind of points out that the interviewers kind of just ran the interview however they wanted. But if they were a little bit more, I guess, similar, and they evaluated based on the same criteria, might be better that way. Let's see. Any thoughts on any of those? Like, do you think it's practical to have them do internships?
I think so. I think internships are always great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of internships. I don't know if it's just the way they were doing it, but when they were talking about what was the name, the one before, Martin Street, how they didn't know if he was going to be accepting other offers or not. And
Right.
So I don't know how that works as far as like you don't want to like take an offer of an internship when maybe somewhere else is offering a full-time job.
Right.
But I think that just applies to him, I think. But
right. I guess probably the last thing to point out for this one is just that's how do senior bankers know what they're supposed to be looking for in a candidate? Like I didn't feel like it was very I don't know. Like how do you think let's see. Let me back up. How do senior bankers know what they are supposed to be looking for in a candidate? How could this process be improved? Like the criteria doesn't seem very clear. What do you guys think? Do you think like there could be a better way to get everyone on the same page as far as like what they should be looking for?
Maybe have the direct people who are going to be working with these candidates, like that department or wherever they're hiring for, play a pretty large role so that they can say, look, this is what we need them for. This is, and then they can kind of see how they are.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts? Okay.
I wouldn't stress too much. I think as long as we go through and we talk about it, I think it's okay. I wouldn't stress too much.
Oh yeah, I just want to make sure you guys are able to say anything you want to say, kind of thing. The next little part talks a little bit more about like the school recruiting. Let's see. Why do you think the choice, or like, why was the choice of which schools to recruit at so important for SG Cohen for their company?
Well, I think the fact that helping them narrow down the schools to look at obviously they picked a lot of like Ivy League schools and like really schools that have a pretty good reputation. So that shows, that their students come from that, and so that they can say that their brokers and the people who work for them, have this level of schooling. But also it just helps them to narrow down the pool of people that they go through.
Right. So it did point out that they didn't really target like Harvard and like really top league schools, but kind of like a step down from that. So still well-known schools, but not like really top tier. Do you think that's like a good strategy or no?
I think it could be, but it's not like a foolproof, to say, hey, we're only going to hire out of this one school because they're known for this.
Yeah.
Because, there's millions and billions of people in the world. and everyone has something to offer.
Right. It isn't kind of interesting that basically what I felt like it came down to was they're saying we could get not as great Harvard, like top tier graduates, or we could get the top graduates of like Cornell. Do you think that's better, like a top graduate from a lesser school, or like a middle graduate from a Harvard or whatever?
I think a top graduate from a kind of a no-name school.
Yeah.
I mean, it also, like, I guess when it comes to finance and business, then yeah, I mean, if you're, top of your class, and I don't know, I guess.
I mean, no matter what school it is, it's shown that you worked hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So what was kind of interesting is they talked about mostly just going to, I think, just business graduate programs to recruit from. But we're kind of wondering about, do you think it would be worth it for the company to like go to like law or technology programs to recruit from?
Can you ask that again?
Yeah, sorry. Would it make sense for the company to recruit from other graduate programs like law or technology?
I think with how they have been doing the process where they said that they are, they hire by fit sometimes, like they would make room for a person, that it might make sense, because sometimes they'll find someone that they didn't have a position for, but then they find a way to make it fit because they feel like it works. And I think they could get some good results from that personally. But
Well, and I also feel like, people hire what they need. If they have a tech or having like a technological issue, or if they like need people who are more tech savvy, they'll probably start looking for that when it comes to the people that they hire.
Yeah. Well, so this guy Fenebresk, he started in law, right? And now he's, a hiring manager, like a senior, whatever banker. So like that, for that as an example, do you think would it be worth it to go recruit from like people other than like finance people at the colleges?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think giving everybody the opportunity to kind of shine or to see if they can shine is an important thing.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was that same guy, but someone on there talked about how it was more important to have someone who's shown a pattern of success, right? Doesn't really matter what their past was as long as it was a pattern of success. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Talking about like the Super Saturday event, what are the objectives of Super Saturday?
Let me look again.
So maybe let's just break down so we're all on the same page of like what happened on Super Saturday, right? So Friday night we all have like dinner, cocktail party together. And then Saturday, if I understood it correct, does every interviewer interview each candidate?
That's what it sounded like.
They kind of just like rotate through. That seems like it would take a long time.
Most of the day, I'd assume as well.
Yeah. So what's the whole point in doing it that way? Like, what's the objective? I feel like this is the question that they kind of want me to ask. I feel it's kind of a weird question, but what's the objective of Super Saturday?
one, it helps them get everything done out of the way in one go. But two, it lets everybody be there together. So like we were just talking about the fact that they interview every single candidate with each interviewer, that gives every single person an opportunity to get a feel for it at the same time, and then they can group up and discuss.
Yeah. Dude.
Instead of being like, oh, hey, we're going to be doing interviews over the next several weeks, it's like, hey, let's just get it all done over 2 days.
Yeah. And you get everything decided of, who you're hiring, who you're giving an offer to.
Exactly.
Okay. The next question is, do any of the objectives conflict with one another? I don't
know.
I don't know about that. Let's see.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, we'll skip over that one. Okay. Okay. So last question for the Super Saturday. What do you think are the pros and cons for the Super Saturday approach?
So, I mean, like I said, I think the pros are that they are able to save a lot of time and resources by doing it all at once. They're able to get exposure to all the different interviewers, share ideas and opinions, kind of have a more unified feel as to what they decide to do.
Yeah, so that collaboration.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what cons.
Well, Jacob. You have any cons for the Super Saturday?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around what the pros might be. I mean, other than just having people together, that I don't really know what would be negative that would come of it. But
yeah,
not that I can think of.
So, I mean, what one con that I can think of is, I mean, they sorted through what, 30 applicants or whatever that day?
I think so.
And so, I mean, anytime you get that many faces and all that, you really don't get it. You don't get any time to actually get to know the person.
Yeah.
I mean, you're judging them based off of something really quick.
Yeah, I agree. I do like how they do the dinner and stuff the night before. It gives them a little bit of seeing them in more of a social context.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree that's. I mean, for a lot of those people, that's their first time seeing him is for like 30 minutes on a Saturday morning, and when they know that they have 29 other people that they have to talk to, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a challenge. Any other thoughts on the Super Saturday approach? Is that something that you would feel like you would want to be a part of, either as a interviewer or interviewee?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Just our final wrap up. So just like a few more questions. What's the difference between recruiting and hiring?
Isn't recruiting really a process where you look to find people that have that are specifically set up for what you're wanting to do? You kind of coach them and prepare them and set them up people that can go far in your company, whereas hiring is just looking to hire for a position that has an opening.
Okay.
To me, I think it's all about timing, I think.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you're out recruiting, that means you can kind of be more selective on who you go and get. Whereas hiring, I mean, you're going to take the first person that qualifies for the job.
Yeah. All right. What, if anything, did you guys learn from this case study about recruiting?
I learned nothing. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, it was interesting to see the process that people go through. You know, a lot of people, no matter what grades you get in college, as long as you get the degree, but it shows that, you know, people do look at the grades, and this guy, you know, his GPA was definitely a factor in what they were looking, whether or not they looked to hire him.
Did you expect
it's
such a long process with so many interviews?
No.
I did think it was interesting that they did the interviews like at the colleges when they were recruiting, and then like more. It just seems like they met with them so many times, but
For real.
what about like the hiring part? Like, what did you guys learn anything about hiring?
Well, they didn't hire anyone yet, so.
Yeah, did we find out who they chose?
Actually, no, not from this page. Let's see if they.
I learned how serious companies take it. They go through a lot of time and effort to narrow down potential candidates, and
Yeah,
you know that it's an important thing for them. And
it's an investment,
it's not
right?
the same
So,
thing as just walking in and handing in a resume, you know, and being like, "Hey, I want to work for you."
right. All right. And now the question you've all been waiting for. How would you rate the overall quality of today's discussion from 0 to 10?
Oh, 10, A plus, man.
So is that a 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Jacob?
Yeah, let's go with a 9 or a 10. It's all
right.
good.
You guys are pretty generous. Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just hop on the bandwagon and go about an 8, 9, something like that.
All right. Was there anything that I did as a discussion leader that you liked?
Was there anything that you what?
Was there anything I did as a discussion leader that you liked?
You were here.
All right, that works.
Well, I mean, you made yourself available, even though, like, you know, it wasn't convenient for you.
Yeah, focus and prepare for a long
traveling and everything. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty tough to have these discussions without a leader. You know, someone's got to read the questions.
I don't know. Someone's got to read the questions and then sit there in the awkward silence until someone answers.
Right? All right. Is there anything you think I could do better next time?
Not make us do the discussion.
All right. I'll talk to brother, whatever his name is. Sorry, brother.
So I'm leader next week,
right?
Yes, that would be true. Yes.
I'm sorry.
All right. We're probably gonna be starting on our next case doohickey thing, right?
Yeah. Do we want to talk about that tonight?
I haven't looked at all, but I was gonna say that we should look at it before we meet.
Well, so it's basically the same assignment. We're just supposed to focus on different areas. So we're supposed to focus on like, I think recruiting and I don't know. It's same thing, but just focusing on different areas. Whatever our.
You guys just want to.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
No, you're good. I'm pulling it up right now, so I can kind of.
Wait, is
I was gonna say
due next week?
I don't think so. I
I
think
we're
it's
just gonna
due.
start working on it.
I think it's due week 8.
Yeah, week 8.
Well, then you guys just want to maybe we can look it over a little bit this week, and then we can talk about it next Friday.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you guys available to meet any earlier in the week? So then that way we can almost have 2 full weeks to do it.
Yeah, I'm good anytime. I'm a stay-at-home dad, so
Yeah. Is there a certain day or time you're thinking?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe more like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay. I can do
Wednesday's
Tuesday after like 7 or later.
Yeah, I could probably do Tuesday at 7.
I could do that. I just have to leave at 8. So
That's
Okay.
fine.
that should work for me. I have another class that meets on Tuesdays, but it seems to be slightly random, but I could put that off for this, especially since I'm the leader, so we'll see.
You guys are
Okay.
gonna make me study all this stuff by Tuesday.
Now, just briefly skim it, at least just enough to understand maybe what we should prepare for.
Yeah. So the
okay,
next
this isn't our discussion meeting. This is just meeting real fast to talk about the doohickeys thing.
yeah.
Okay, we don't have to record that one, so yeah, we can do that. That's no problem.
Okay. So that doohickey's assignment is supposed to be over recruiting and hiring, career development and training, motivation, and safety. So those are the areas that we're supposed to be addressing,
boy.
I guess.
Yeah, so let's meet for like 15 minutes or something like that and just kind of divide the work up, and that way we have like a week and a half to get our stuff done.
That sounds
And then
good.
are we still good to meet Friday again for this discussion?
Yeah, let's do that.
Sounds good.
All right.
What
cool.
was the time that we were meeting at before? I lost track since we did this tonight. What was the
7
normal?
is when we were usually meeting.
7 Mountain Time?
Yeah, 7 Mountain Time.
So 7 on Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool.
All right, guys.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, good meeting. Y'all have a good night.
Hey,
Yep.
you too.
Bye.
See you Tuesday.